Pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Well, I'll shut the door and it will get warm. I'm just on bed and it's really hot in the office. Oh, I like it. So I got into social work. I started my undergrad here at UK, and in my undergrad studies I started out as psychology, and it's kind of an interesting story because I took a Psych 100 class and I really enjoyed it, and then I went to the Career Center and they told me about social work, and I just found it to be a more productive and more easier fit for me, and I switched my major from psychology to social work then. And so I finished my undergrad career here at UK and then worked for a couple years and kind of decided what I wanted to do. And I really was drawn to doing therapy because I had experienced some difficult times in my upbringing and wanted to reach out and be able to help people. Most like a lot of social workers, I think, they get into the field and want to do. They want to help people because they've had some sort of similar experiences and that sort of thing. So I wanted to help people and to do therapy specifically, and then I went into my master's program at U of L and finished that program and continued on and pursued my LCSW. But through my master's program I really just decided and developed a love for more macro social work as well. So I really like both ends, the micro and macro, and that's one of the things I really love about the field is that you can do so much with it. It's so versatile, and if you find that you enjoy one spot in the profession, and if you decide you want to try something else, there's always another opportunity out there to grow and learn and continue to help people through the field. I started out straight out of undergrad. I did my practicum at the Methodist Home in Versailles, a residential treatment facility, and I did that my last practicum, undergrad practicum, and that gave me an opportunity to work some out in the community as well as be familiar with what residential treatment is. And after that I decided this is the field that I wanted to get into. So I started out with my bachelor's degree working frontline in the cottages with residents, and then from there I just kind of grew in that agency. I switched to a substance abuse prevention coordinator and did that work for about 2 years, and went back and got my master's in social work and did my master's practicum as well at the Methodist Home, but more in a therapeutic micro realm, and I really enjoyed that and kind of had like a year-long interview through my practicum. As soon as I finished my master's in social work, I went ahead and moved into a therapist position there and worked there as a therapist for 5 years and got my supervision for my LCSW. So I was working with residential treatment adolescents ages 12 to about 17, 18 years old. I worked primarily with males, but also worked with the female population as well. A lot of those residents they were removed from their homes through Department of Community-Based Services and had lots of history of abuse and neglect and that sort of thing. So not only did I get to work with the residents there, but also worked with reuniting families and that sort of thing, did family therapy, individual work, as well as group. So I did that until I got this position at UK. I switched over here, and now I'm a clinical case manager, and it's a growing field in higher education where there's non-clinical case managers through the Dean of Students offices, and then also clinical case managers like myself in the counseling centers across different universities across the nation. So I continue as well in this role doing clinical work. I have a small caseload of clients. I work a lot with students who are in crisis, but I also get to do what I call more traditional case management and social work, where I help students who are facing food insecurity, housing insecurity, clothing insecurity, help them get connected to resources on and off campus, as well as make referrals out into the community for therapy for services that we don't provide here, say like dialectical behavioral therapy. We don't provide that as of right now. So I help students get connected out into the community as well for those things. So I get to do both things, and I really enjoy both aspects of my position. I really like how vast social work is as a field. I feel like there's so much that you can do with it. If you find dissatisfaction in one position, you could always find another one. There's a lot of different ways that you can help people, and I think that that's number one for me, being able to feel like I'm making a difference in creating change in the world and in individuals' lives. I really enjoy doing micro level, but I like to do macro level social work as well. I find that I am a huge advocate, and I really enjoy creating change and advocacy, not only just with my clients, but also, you know, in the more macro level as well. So I really like that about our field, that there's just so much you can do with it. I always encourage students that are in my office that are debating between maybe social work or psychology, that this is really a great route to go, and I really enjoy being a part of the field of social work. I take a lot of pride in saying that I'm a social worker. I enjoy telling people that. On the flip side, one of the things that I don't like about social work is, you know, how the title social worker is taken by so many different roles that are not necessarily social work. You know, there's so many people that take on and say that they claim that to be a social worker that maybe don't have the training or have the licensure that, you know, you need to be a social worker, and I think that really muddies the water for our field a lot, and I really hope that the field continues to work to take that back and claim that title of social worker. So that's one thing that I don't like. So I think stress management is something that we preach to our clients a lot, the people that we work with and we see, and we always tell them to take care of themselves and have a good balance. But social workers, I think, are notoriously bad about self-care, myself included. But I try to be very mindful as I transition from the work day to the rest of my life to have a transition piece. Like when I get to my car, I'll, you know, turn on some really good music or something that soothes or calms me, or that I could just kind of jam out to. If I need to yell and scream and just kind of get it out, you know, I could sing aloud to that and use that as a transition piece between work and home. I like to ride horses a lot, and that's something that I found to be very therapeutic, to take some time away from just the world in general, not only just the trauma that I hear from my clients and the different things that they're facing, but also just, you know, the things that are going on in society today. Just having a peaceful time out, I think, is important. I like to shop. That could be something that's negative as well, but I really like to bargain shop and get a good deal, but also that's something I like to do by myself, and just kind of having that time just to unwind and relax is important. I think being able to take every opportunity you can as a student, because that's not necessarily afforded to you as you get into the professional world and that you're just concentrating on your job. This is a really wonderful opportunity to kind of try on different hats and see what you like about the field. Take opportunities on campus, because there's lots of different organizations, there's lots of different ways to advocate, there's a lot of social justice, and social justice is a big part of social work. There's a lot of different social justice movements going on campus. So I think that taking advantage of your campus organizations and things that you can access as a student only is really important. And also, you know, joining professional organizations and starting networking, I think that it's never too early to do that. Joining the NASW has a student rate and that's less expensive, as well as the Kentucky Society for Clinical Social Workers. If you're interested in the clinical realm, they have a discount for students. So taking advantage of those and kind of trying those things out and seeing if it's something that you're interested in as you go into your professional work, as well as CEUs. Take advantage of those. It's never too early at the student rates for that, because then that really can give you an opportunity to look and grow and learn, and see if there's, you know, if part of the field that you're more interested in, that, you know, it's a good way to kind of get your foot wet into that. So I think that's a good piece of advice as well, that I really wish that I had done as a student, and taken the opportunity to do more of those things. It's like rambling at the end. I'm like, what am I going?